Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for sharing this wonderful moment with all of us. And before we start, I just want to mention some administrative things that we need to do. For those of you that wants to testify verbally, written, whatever, I got my staff over there. You can sign in, and you can either read your written testimony me or send it to my address, and I'll give you my address later on. Thank you very much. Buenas hafade todos hamjo. This confirmation hearing by the Committee on Public Safety, Border Safety, Military and Veterans Affairs, Marriage Council, Infrastructure and Public Transit is hereby called to order. For the record and in accordance with Section 8107 of Chapter 8.5 GCA, the first confirmation hearing notice was sent out on Wednesday, April 10, 2019, and hearing to the 5 working days notice. And the second confirmation hearing, adhering to the 48 hours notice, was sent out on Friday, April 12, 2019. And in addition to that, this confirmation hearing was give notice to the Guam Legislature website. The time now is, what's the time now?
6 p.m. 6 p.m.
It says 6 a.m. on my thing, on my listing. That's okay. Joining me here today are my colleagues. To my right, Senator Perez. Next to her is Senator San Agustin. Senator Bisculi. And to my other left, Senator Regine, Clint Rigel. I've been here like 4 hours already. And my niece, Senator Terlaje. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm Senator Pedo Terlaje. I chair the Committee on the Veterans Affairs. On the agenda this morning, or this afternoon, is the executive appointment of Colonel Esther Aguigui to serve as the Adjutant General, Guam National Guard, as Director, Department of Military Affairs. Usually I say Guam Army National Guard, but they advised me that you're going to also be in charge of the Guam National, with the Air Force, I think, like that. So at this time, I'd like to call Colonel Aguigui forward to give her remarks, and then I will call those who have signed up to provide oral testimony. And then after Colonel Aguigui present her testimony, those that are going to be making testimony can come up to the front, or you can come up right now. Whoever's going to testify, you can come up right now.
Mayor? Tell them we'll have 2 panels if they don't know.
I don't know, there's, because the last group we had was like, we got 3 badges of testimony that, the people that came up. So I don't know, maybe we have lesser people to testify. So if anything, just, present a 5-minute testimony, and maybe we can, go to the next group, and maybe we can end this confirmation, because, I have the feeling that our colonel here is going to be confirmed. So, I'm saying it ahead of time. I'm the only one that usually come out and say, we're going to confirm you, guaranteed. So, and that's not even an understatement, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so with that, maybe we can just end this hearing. Oh, no, I'm just joking. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Ernie. You can start, sir.
Your left, my right, sir?
My right over there and my left over there.
Thank you, Senator. Sorry, Pedo. Thank you, senators of the panel. Like I said earlier, when I testified on behalf of for the chief of police, I need to be here because both appointees are from Malesso. So it's with great honor and pride. It is with great honor and pride that I need to be here to support the nomination and the confirmation. Otherwise, the people in Malesso would have chased me out. Okay? Because this brings honor and pride to the village. And my name is Ernest Charlo, anyways. So you guys, to those that don't know me, it's still Ernest Charlo. So I'm the mayor of Malesso. My prima over here, I grew up with her, and like Captain Ignacio, we grew up together in the village. She grew up a little behind me. I won't say it too far back, or because I will be too far forward. So, but I know that she came from a very good family, a very well-respected family. My Uncle Ken, the Aguigui, and my Auntie Tetsang, they brought these kids up in good conduct. If you look at my auntie, she's still pretty at her age because there was no stress, no depressed, no frustration in bringing up the kids. All her siblings are well educated. They're good conducted kids. Those are the kids that every parent would want to be, so want to have. So my prima here, I know she's educated. She's got good moral values instilled by her parents because they teach it to their kids. They go to the church, pray. They're respectful, very obedient to their parents, and they're very, very well thought of in our village. That they're educated, and my cousin here, her youngest brother, or the baby, is an attorney, Ike. And then her oldest brother, or the oldest, used to be the chief of police, my primo Earl. His brother below him was a police officer who I believe later on went on to work for the Attorney Generals as an investigator, if my information is correct. His brother, who was my classmate, went into the military. We went to school together. As a matter of fact, I believe I'm the only one that took him off the track because I asked him to join my basketball team in Mauricio, and then I recruited him to join me at GW. But, other than that, everybody in the family, and my prima Pearl, who's married to my primo Greg, so everybody in Mauricio is related. So my primo Greg is married to her sister Pearl, who's, I believe, a teacher. So Colonel Aguigui is a well-conducted individual by herself. She's got an honesty, integrity, and most of all, I know that she's got ethics. Senator, when you combine good traits, good qualities, you can never be good. I mean, you can never be bad. It's going to roll out that she's going to do the best she can. Because like I said, she has all the qualities and traits. She's got honesty, integrity, and most importantly, ethics. Because her parents are ethical. They teach them what's good, what's right. And these guys all grew up being very good citizens of our village. And it's with honor and pride that I come here to support her. And that's a very good assurance that guarantee. Oh man, I'm happy. So prima, salute. Thank you very much.
Don't call on us, just Marcy Muir. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Buenas. My name is Charlene Kwan Pereira. I'm here on behalf of my daughter, Elizabeth Pereira-Paris. She asked me to read her testimony for Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui. And don't panic. When I printed it, I made it big so that I don't miss the punctuations, because I want to make sure I do it right. There's no going back. Dear Senator Terlaje and members of the committee, I am writing in support of Lieutenant Colonel Esther Aguigui and her confirmation as the Adjutant General. My name is Elizabeth Pereira-Paris, and I am a warrant officer in the U.S. Army Judge Advocate General, JAG Corps. I am sure you will hear of Lieutenant Aguigui's many military accolades and experiences, but I would like to share with you a more personal perspective. I have known Lieutenant Aguigui since I was a young girl, when she and my mom were teachers in the special ed department at George Washington High School. Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui, Esther, has always been considered one of my mom's closest friends and has remained close to my family through the years. Esther was the one who taught me how to drive and helped me get my driver's license. And she was also the one I spoke with about joining the military. As early as my preteen years, I was inspired by Esther and her military career. First, as a senior enlisted airman, the first female first sergeant in the Guam Air National Guard, and then as an officer. After I left Guam in 2003 to enlist in the U.S. Army, I kept in touch with Esther, mostly by email. I followed her military achievements in news articles and social media. Her promotion to Lieutenant Colonel, assuming command of the Guam Army National Guard Recruiting and Retention Battalion as the first female in the Guard to hold a battalion-level command, being the first female Guam National Guard officer to graduate from the U.S. Army War College, and now the first Chamorro female officer to be appointed to lead the Guam National Guard as the Adjutant General. Courageous, confident, and hardworking, Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui is a true pioneer for other Chamorro women in the military. For women like me who strive for continued success in our military careers, hoping to make our families, our friends, and our island proud. In my 16 years as an active duty soldier in the U.S. Army, Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui has been and continues to be a mentor and role model. I recognize that it is not easy to be a trailblazer, facing challenges head-on and unraveling the status quo. And I admire Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui's persistence during more difficult moments in my career, like during my warrant officer candidate course and deployments in Iraq and Afghanistan. I would think of Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui's accomplishments, of how she had overcome adversity time and again. I would find motivation to persevere. I have the utmost respect for Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui's determination and professionalism. I trust in her leadership and wholeheartedly support her confirmation as the next Adjutant General of the Guam National Guard. Excuse me. Thank you for the opportunity to offer my testimony in support of Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui. Should you have any questions, I would be glad to answer them. Respectfully, Elizabeth Pereira-Paris.
Si Jesus masi kana ona tuhu lo kui lago. Lo dangkulo bonito sinangan mo. Go ahead, ma'am.
I know at the beginning you said she was going to talk first. So should I allow her to talk first and then I go after, or
No, I think
continue?
the witness is
Will
going to go
talk?
first,
Okay.
and then we'll let the primary talk after
Okay.
you guys.
Half-a-day senators, on behalf of Colonel Esther J.C. Aguigui, I give my testimonial for her approval to the position of Adjutant General of Guam, appointed by the Honorable Governor of Guam, Magahaga Lourdes Leon Guerrero. My name is Laurie Regis from the beautiful village of Malesso, where awesome, intelligent, hardworking, domesticated, humble servants of the Lord come from. I have known Esther ever since. We were born on the same year and month, only days apart. We have been classmates from kindergarten to our sophomore year in high school. Although I moved away to pursue my education, we still kept in contact. We are sisters at heart, bonded for life. What's my turn? Dispense the Colonel Esther J.C. Aguigui is a very intelligent person. She thrives for success in all that she does. She is a humble person from having God in her heart, mind, and soul always. She is determined to accomplish any given task required of her. She always does the right and is true to me and the island of Guam. She is a person filled with love. It's not because I know her, it's because I know of her. There are four of us: Vera Marie Meno, Julie Duenas Maglonia, Esther J.C. Aguigui, and myself, Laurie Regis in the sisterhood of life, bonded forever. We are tremendously close and dear to each other's hearts. So with all that is said, true to my heart and with sincerity to the best of my knowledge, I humbly ask for your approval to give Colonel Esther J.C. Aguigui the opportunity to assist the Governor of Guam, Magahaga Lourdes Leon Guerrero, to work with her side by side, hand in hand, to lead the National Guard of Guam and to protect the people and our island of Guam. Sincere regards. Thank you.
Si Jesus masi bonito talo sinangan mo.
I will try not to cry. Buenos and half a day, Senators. My name is Jane Flores. I'm the Director of the Bureau of Women's Affairs for the Government of Guam. The Bureau of Women's Affairs of the Government of Guam proudly submits this letter of support for the appointment of Colonel Esther Aguigui as the Adjutant General, Guam National Guard, and Director of the Department of Military Affairs for the Government of Guam. Colonel Aguigui has served with distinction in the U.S. military for over 3 decades. Her many accolades include being the first and only female officer in the Guam National Guard to have graduated from the 10-month resident class of the United States Army War College in 2017. Colonel Aguigui is also the first woman to have been named a sergeant in the Air National Guard and the first woman to have commanded a battalion level in the Guam National Guard. It is appropriate that our first Magahaga, Lourdes Leon Guerrero, would appoint Colonel Aguigui to become the first female Adjutant General of the Guam National Guard. Yet it is important to note that Colonel Aguigui's appointment is not based solely on her being a female soldier. More importantly, her appointment is based on her exemplary qualifications and performance record, whether it was on deployment in Afghanistan, the Philippines, over on the U.S. mainland, or back home in Guam. In short, Colonel Aguigui is being appointed as the TAG not only because she gets the job done, but because she gets it done well. As the Director of the Bureau of Women's Affairs, I've witnessed Colonel Aguigui's ability to empower and motivate people. In our current national and global Me Too climate, Colonel Aguigui is the perfect soldier to put in charge of the Guam National Guard. Her no-nonsense attitude requires respect for all soldiers, no matter their gender. Her leadership example elevates the Guard's achievement bar, empowering our soldiers to do not just a good job, but a great one. It has been proven time and again that if you empower the women in a community, the entire community benefits. Colonel Aguigui embodies this concept. As the Adjutant General, she inspires our soldiers with regard to their level of service and their love for island and country. That inspiration will have a ripple effect from our soldiers to their families and friends. Through them, Adjutant General Aguigui will also inspire our young girls and boys to be the best that they can be, whether they choose to serve in our military or pursue other avenues of empowerment and sustainability in our community. Because empowering women empowers all of us, the Bureau of Women's Affairs is in full support of the confirmation of Colonel Esther J.C. Aguigui as the Adjutant General of the Guam National Guard. Sijus Mase for the opportunity to submit this testimony.
Susan Marcela Quijago. Go ahead.
Hello. Good afternoon and half a day. I am Norma Castillion, and I was asked by a very dear friend to read her testimony letter today, Command Sergeant Major Agnes Diaz. I also served with Lieutenant Colonel Esther Aguigui, and so it is my pleasure to be here today to read this testimony. And so Sergeant Major Diaz's letter reads, and she dated it on 16 April 2019 and addressed it to the 35th Guam Legislature, Honorable Jose Pedo Terlaje, 35th Guam Legislature Chair, Committee on Public Safety, Border Safety, Military and Veteran Affairs, Mayor's Council, Infrastructure, and Public Transit. This is again from Sergeant Major Agnes Quintanilla. She is currently attending the command course at Command General Staff College at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. And so this is her letter supporting the confirmation for Esther J.C. Aguigui to the position of the Adjutant General for the Guam National Guard. Hafa Adai, honorable ladies and gentlemen of the 35th Guam Legislature. My name is Agnes Quintanilla Diaz, and I would like to provide testimony in support of Lieutenant Colonel Esther J.C. Aguigui to be confirmed as Director of the Department of Military Affairs, as well as the Adjutant General of the Guam National Guard. I have served in the military, more specifically the Guam Army National Guard, for more than 35 years. I currently serve as the Command Sergeant Major for the 105th Troop Command in the Guam Army National Guard. I was a former educator and assistant professor with the Guam Community College for more than 10 years, and a local businesswoman for over 20 years. Besides being a dual status guardsman, I am employed as a civilian contractor for the Guam Army National Guard's Construction Facilities Management Office, which is located at Fort Juan Muña in Harmon as the real property manager. I have served and lived the military life as a servant leader for the greatest country in the world and the people of Guam since 1984. At this time, I am unable to make this presentation in person as I am attending the Brigade Pre-Command course as a student at the U.S. Army's Command and General Staff College, Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. I am in support of the confirmation of Lieutenant Colonel Esther J.C. Aguigui to serve as our Guam National Guard's Adjutant General. Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui possesses the professional military education, training, and experience required to lead this organization forward. More importantly, however, she has the leadership attributes and competencies of a true leader. Her development to be a true leader did not come easy. She faced adversity and challenges just like a culturally gendered and dominant organization presents. And as she becomes a stronger person, a better soldier, and a better leader, exactly what is needed to lead the Guam National Guard soldiers, airmen, civilians in this complex and ever-evolving military service into the future. I have known and had the honor and privilege to serve with Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui during her few years in the Guam National Guard. I was the first sergeant for the 294th Military Intelligence Detachment when she was appointed as the commander and a counterintelligence special agent from 2001 to 2005. At this time, our unit was preparing to be the first Guam Guard unit to deploy in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. As a young first lieutenant and new to the Army, she learned flexibility and always led from the front. Her leadership style was serious, always professional, always by the rules, and always ensured that we worked as a team. She trained alongside her soldiers and demonstrated care about the soldiers and their families. She also continuously encouraged and supported soldiers completing their professional military education and made many tough decisions when it came down to taking disciplinary action in keeping her soldiers on track to be able to continue their military career. Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui walks the walk. Her actions support her leadership. She possesses the required character, presence, intellect, lives by, and upholds the military ethics, competency, and commitment to all soldiers, airmen, and their families. Her leadership, experience, knowledge, and mindset for the Air Force and Army makes her the perfect candidate to ensure the strengths of each military component is highlighted and supported. Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui, like many women, whether in a civilian or military capacity, has self-inflicted the idea that we have to work harder and smarter in proving our worth in order to reach our personal and professional goals. There are many words I could use to describe Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui. A few come to mind: resilient, inspirational, intellectual, professional, confident, competent, responsible, accountable, determined, a mentor, a true leader. And I believe it or not, under all her seriousness and intelligence, she is still very compassionate and humorous. To be candid, I have very few mentors or people I call a true leader, a sister in arms, a sister by choice or friend. Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui is one of those few that meets all those descriptions. I have taken the time to provide this testimony because I have the utmost respect and trust in Colonel Esther Aguigui and in her ability to lead the Guam National Guard to the new level of pride, credibility, respect, and mission success. I believe she can provide the inspiration to our soldiers and airmen who are looking for leadership in action, the fostering of esprit de corps, and for a positive working environment in our organization. Her Army values, military and civilian experience, education and commitment to all service members and their families, as well as integrity, honesty, and fairness are just a few more reasons I am in support of her confirmation. Your Guam National Guard desires and deserves this new leadership. Si Juice Maasi, thank you for this opportunity to submit this letter on behalf of Lieutenant Colonel Esther J.C. Aguigui. Strengthen diversity, Army strong, Command Sergeant Major Aggie Diaz. Hua. Thank you.
Hua Ungan! Thank you very much. Go ahead, Barry.
Good evening, Senator Terlaje, Chairman of the Legislative Committee on Military Affairs, and fellow senators. I am CW4 Delarosa of the Guam Army National Guard, and I'm here today to attest to the ability and confirmation of Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui to serve as the Adjutant General of the Guam National Guard. I have served in the Guam National Guard for 19 years as a warrant officer, so I am fully capable of recognizing a future effective leader for our National Guard. I have known Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui for 19 years in my capacity as a senior warrant officer, and I can say without a doubt that I would be proud to serve alongside her. Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui is a natural leader, but more importantly than that, she also knows how to follow an order. She recognizes the value of referring to superior, peers, and subordinates, and that her pride isn't impacted when she does so or is challenged. Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui is committed, loyal, and devoted professional leader and person. Attributes of a good leader are ones that are fair, compassionate, competent, responsible, honest, trustworthy, persevering, selfless, patient, focused, and determined. Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui has demonstrated these qualities through her previous command time in the Guam National Guard. As the Garang Element Commander, she promoted a positive environment with the soldiers to perform assigned tasks to meet Army readiness posture and standards, such as the 100% passing rate for both record APFTs and the annual weapons qualification. She would also seek advice from fellow officers, warrant officers, and enlisted soldiers on matters she required clarification on before making any decision. Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui is also a combat veteran with a tour in Operation Enduring Freedom, Afghanistan. Just some of the many events that reflects what an officer possesses of this caliber to lead and follow. Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui has proven that she is the professional in the profession of arms. She is second to none. Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui is a friendly, easygoing professional who understands the value of a hard day's work and knows the importance of keeping our military running smoothly. Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui, as the Adjutant General, and her leadership will take us to the next level for the island of Guam, the Guam National Guard, and that the soldiers and airmen will benefit greatly from her confirmation. It is a change in culture, with one that is in line with the governor's vision and history in the making, that if confirmed will be the first female to lead the Guam National Guard, just as she was the first female of the Guam National Guard to complete the Army War College, a prestigious accomplishment, and that future female officers can emulate and follow. I believe strongly in Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui's potential for success as the Adjutant General of the Guam National Guard. So I hope you and your committee will confirm our very first female appointment to lead the soldiers and airmen and take the Guam National Guard to a whole new level. Si Jules Maasi, Norman Delarosa.
Thank you, Lieutenant Norman. Go ahead, sir.
Hafaday, Chairman Terlaje, and members of the committee. My name is Chief Warrant Officer 2 Cyril Concepcion. On behalf of the Construction Facility Management Office of the Guam Army National Guard, thank you for allowing us to provide testimony in support of Lieutenant Colonel Esther J.C. Aguigui's appointment as the Adjutant General of the Guam National Guard. We have worked with and under the leadership of Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui for the 19 months prior to her appointment as TAG, and without a doubt believe she is the right person to lead the Guam National Guard. You would be very pressed to find someone who epitomizes the 7 Army values of loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage, and has true compassion for others, like Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui. Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui was appointed to lead our office as the Chief CFMO back in July of 2017. We met with her as a group and individually and learned what she expected of us as subject matter experts in our programs and as members of our offices. But there was something different about her and her leadership style. Most bosses come and tell you how things are going to be done with no discussion. She, however, asked us how she could help and support us. She wanted us to help us be the very best we can at our work, not just for ourselves, but for the organization as a whole. She encouraged us to do better and be better in everything we did. She also wanted us to work together and build our team. We would no longer be individuals in the office, but become important members of a highly functioning and efficient, well-oiled machine at the end of her tenure as Chief CFMO. That's really, truly her words. She utilized our individual skills and strengths and guided us to work together to complete tasks. Whenever she received a compliment or praise for a task, she always credited the team for our hard work and dedication to the office and the organization. She changed the dynamic of our office to think outside the box and look at the bigger picture. She helped us grow as individuals, but more importantly, as a team. She did this not just for herself and others, but for the next person who would come in after her. As she helped us build our strength as a team, she also helped us strengthen our sense of family. She regarded every one of us as part of her family, as we did her, and she showed us that she truly cared for each and every one of us. She always made time for us to be able to come and talk with her, even with her very busy schedule. Her time and leadership at our office has made an indelible, positive impact on us, both personally and professionally, and we will truly miss her. One characteristic of Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui that stands out about her is her fortitude. Whenever she faced adversity, she never gave in or gave up. At times, the adversity seemed overwhelming, to the point where most leaders would give up. Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui, however, is not like most leaders. She stayed true to herself and what she knew was the right thing to do, and stood her ground, even if it meant she stood alone amongst the leadership. She relied on her faith in God's plan and the support she received from her family, our office, and those who believed in her. She wouldn't let the adversity define her either. She used adversity to strengthen and reinforce the 7 Army values ingrained within her to become the better soldier and person, while still remaining humble and grateful each and every day. It is this fortitude that most likely helped her achieve success throughout her career, most notably as the first female officer from the Guam National Guard to graduate from the U.S. Army War College, and hopefully the first confirmed female Adjutant General in the Guam National Guard and Guam history. The position of Adjutant General is one that requires a leader that all soldiers, airmen, and civilians can look up to and know that the right things will be done for them and the organization as a whole. They must be able to feel that their work environment will help them grow and succeed as professionals in their careers, and that they are an important part in the success of the mission of the Guard. We believe that these things are always happening at the Guard since Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui's appointment as TAG, and will continue under her leadership. We, the undersigned, believe that Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui is the right person for the position of Adjutant General of the Guam National Guard and fully support her confirmation without reservation. Thank you.
Mrs. Masi. Anybody else who wishes to present testimony? Okay, the Mayor Barrigada. June, July, and go ahead and have a chair. Anybody else? All right, June, my favorite. Go ahead.
Yes, my favorite. Buenas and half a day, honorable senators. My name is June Blas, the mayor of Barrigada. With me is also the vice mayor, Jesse Bautista. Mr. Chairman and members of the Committee on Public Safety, Border Safety, Military and Veterans Affairs. Mayor's Council of Guam and Infrastructure and Public Transit. Buenas and saludo para todos, hamdu. Vice Mayor Jesse Bautista and I, together with the members of the Barrigada Municipal Planning Council, submit testimony in support of Esther Aguigui to serve as the Adjutant General, Guam National Guard, and the Director of Department of Military Affairs. I recently met Esther Aguigui as she and I spearheaded the Memorial Committee of the 75th Liberation festivities, and I immediately recognized her compassion in giving back to the island by partnering with the community of Barrigada. Yes, very much with Barrigada. It is their home. The National Guard is the home in Barrigada. It is the first ever that I was approached by an Adjutant General to assist in the future beautification projects, to include the adoption of the Lehi softball fields in Tizan and the community on the continuity of Route 16 roadway cleanup, which occurs quarterly. And yes, I might say, she has clicked with me and we have the same passion, and I really am proud of her. With her leadership, we know that the Guam National Guard and the Department of Military Affairs will continue to protect our island. We are proud to endorse Esther Aguigui. She has the qualifications to lead the Guam National Guard. We look forward to your committee's favorable report. Sidus Maasi, Mayor June Blas, Vice Mayor Jesse Bautista, and the Barrigada Municipal Planning Council. Sidus Maasi.
Sidus Maasi, Mayor. Thank you very much. Go ahead, sir.
Hafa and good evening, Senators. Thank you for staying late today. I can see it in your eyes. So I'm going to be brief, but I do have to say a few things in support of Colonel Aguigui's nomination to Adjutant General. So I'm Colonel Tim Pusan. I'm the Director of Staff for the Guam Air National Guard. I've been in the Guam Guard for 32 and a half years. They went by so fast. And military-wise, I've been in for 42 and a half years. So what that makes me is, right now, I think, and my compatriots will testify otherwise, I think I'm the oldest person in terms of years in the Guard right now for the Guam Air National Guard. And right now, I can tell you for sure I am number 2 in the Air National Guard nationwide in terms of continuous service. So I sit here before you as trying to tell you, hey, I know a little bit about the military and a little about the Guard. And this is home, and it has been home for quite a while. So of those 32 and a half years, I've known Colonel Aguigui about 30 of those years. So when she started off in the Guam Air National Guard as an E6 tech sergeant, I was an E7 at the time. And we got to know each other over that time. And I've come to find Colonel Aguigui, back then Tech Sergeant Aguigui, as the first sergeant for the 254 Civil Engineering Squadron, as a caring and compassionate person. And she definitely has all those leadership qualities, because you don't get to be a first sergeant unless you demonstrate and have the confidence of your leadership. They say, yeah, you can do this job as first sergeant. In the Air Guard, the first sergeant, the job is taking care of people. That's what it's all about, in the good times and in the bad times. And Colonel Aguigui has definitely done that. She did that as an NCO, and I've also seen her do that as an officer. And I guess that first sergeant thing kind of got to her head a little bit, because so many firsts have come after that. And you've heard this already. So 1st Battalion Commander, first female from the Guam Guard to graduate from the Army War College in residence. So let me tell you about that. You know, it's a tiny little statement, but let me tell you what that means. When you get sent to the War College in residence, that's a signal from your leadership that they see greater things for you in your future. They see you as being part of the senior leadership of the National Guard or whatever unit that sends you. So that's a signal that was sent by sending Colonel Aguigui to the Army War College. It's a very important signal. And she stands here today ready to take that learning, take that knowledge, take that experience of over 30 years of service to the next level and try to bring the Guam National Guard to the next level. So the governor of Guam has confidence in Colonel Aguigui's leadership, and so do I. And I would just like to testify to that fact, and like I said, I'd like to serve the next little bit of time that I have before I retire under the leadership of Colonel Aguigui as the Adjutant General of the Guam National Guard. Thank you.
I was also a first sergeant in the Army Guard. Thank you very much. And when you mentioned that, I am very passionate with that position because you got to know everything about military science being the first sergeant. So thank you very much. Go ahead, sir.
National Guard soldiers serve both community and country. Our versatility enables us to respond to domestic emergencies, overseas combat missions, counter-drug efforts, reconstruction missions, and more. The Guard always responds with speed, strength, and efficiency, helping to defend American freedom and ideals. Physical and mental toughness are just the basic requirements. This is about commitment, a commitment to yourself, a commitment to those around you, a commitment to make a difference, help those in need, and be a keeper of the American dream. It takes drive, the kind that doesn't fade when impossible obstacles stare at you in the face. It takes mitigation, teamwork, and the will to achieve something bigger. Buenos and Half Day Speaker Terlaje, esteemed senators, distinguished guests, and fellow Guamanians, it is indeed an honor and a privilege to be in company of such individuals who look to bring promising change and development to the continued growth of this beautiful island we call home. I would also be remiss not to acknowledge the brave men and women in our armed forces serving and who have served. It is because of you that we are privileged with the freedoms we enjoy today. Thank you for your unparalleled commitment and bravery. My name is Ethan Aguigui. I've known Colonel Esther C. Aguigui for all my life, so it is indeed an honor to be speaking on one of my role models here today. Colonel Esther C. Aguigui, the soldier. Over 3 decades of dedicated service in our armed forces, she has set precedents where no woman has, making history as the first female sergeant in the Air National Guard, the first female to command a battalion level in the Guam National Guard, first female War College graduate from Guam, and the first female to be appointed to lead the Guam National Guard. Her accolades include reception of the Bronze Star, 2 meritorious service medals, Army Commendation Medal, Air Force Commendation Medal, Afghanistan Campaign Medal, Global War and Terrorism Service Expeditionary Medal, and a Certificate of Special Congressional Record for her groundbreaking graduation from the Army War College in Carlisle, PA. I was actually able to visit her while she was at War College, and while my visit was short, I was able to see just how studious she was. At least 3 rows of books sprawled out across her apartment floor as she was doing everything possible to succeed in the rigorous program, which is just a testament to her will to succeed and her commitment. Her trips around the globe in servitude of the greater good include deployments to Afghanistan, the Philippines, Louisiana to help with the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. The list of accomplishments goes on. Although as prestigious as these accolades and commendations are, they are not what define Colonel Esther Aguigui. Rather, it is who she is as an individual, the type of character, trait she personifies that has allowed her to reach the heights she has and resulted in the success she's worked for all her life that truly defines the person she is. NTS, the person. When I was growing up, and even at times till today, my dad would tell me about the strife he and his siblings grew up facing. He would tell me about the miles they would have to walk back and forth to school, the racism they would face when they lived in the mainland during a time color was no more described as a type of laundry that wasn't and were treated as such. The daily menu of bologna sandwiches for lunch, the experience of only having 2 pairs of shoes, one for school and the other for exercise. It was because of these challenges that the children of Joaquin and Teteng Aguigui have become successful and providers of their families that they are today. The 2 things that my dad always emphasized, whatever he would tell me about their upbringing, that still hold true today, are gratitude and the expectations that come with the family name, the Aguigui name. Gratitude. There are many words and attitudes that are important, but the foundation for success is based on gratitude. Everything, peace of mind, happiness, getting the most of what you have, springs off the word gratitude. Gratitude means that you think less of yourself, think less about myself, and more about others and the opportunities that I have. You count your blessings, and then you make your blessings count. That's not my quote, but nonetheless, it is a powerful idea. In the same light, gratitude and humility go hand in hand. These two terms are what really help an individual become the best they can be. If you're grateful, you're humble. You're always seeking a better way. You are willing to grow. And TS exemplifies every facet of those two words. One of the most selfless and humble people I know, she goes above and beyond to ensure that she is accommodating to everyone before herself. She never hesitated to spoil us nephews and nieces as if we were her own children, and that selfless kindness extended to everyone around her. One who is selfish doesn't achieve the lofty accolades and garner the respect of her superiors, peers, and individuals under her command. Her decisions are never rooted from what may be solely best for her, nor do her actions carry a selfish ulterior motive. I can guarantee you that when she accomplished unseen precedents as the first of many titles and achievements, she never had the idea of being first in her mind. Instead, was simply doing what she was raised to do, be grateful and do her best. Growing up with the Aguigui name is a double-edged sword, a blessing and a burden. A blessing in that you know that you are supported by a family that will always have your best interests at heart, no matter the opposition. A burden, because with this last name, expectation is to succeed and to do good are always lofted to the highest standard. The expectation to always carry the name and be associated with positive connotation. The pressure to succeed because of the success of the parents who passed the name down onto you. This is the burden that she lived with her entire life, whether it be the pressure to make grandpa and grandma proud or to be an exemplary example for all her nieces and nephews, because even she knew the expectation that comes with our last name. She has been a role model for anyone to follow. That burden, that pressure is what drives her to create a life that is in line with excellence and success. It is because of the burden she's lived with that trials, tribulations, and opposition have only made her stronger and into a better person than she was the previous day. She did not pray for an easy life, but rather has built the strength to live a difficult one day after day. This is why she is unbreakable. This is why she is the phenomenal leader, but an even better person today. If you didn't recognize it, or if it did sound familiar, I opened my testimony with the Guam National Guard's mission and what traits are desired in potential recruits. Colonel Esther Aguigui has served both community and country, supporting and aiding domestic emergencies, as well as serving orders at overseas combat missions. In serving domestically and internationally, she has defended American freedom and ideals selflessly and without content in the face of danger. In her 3 decades of servitude, she has shown nothing short of utmost commitment to her best self and those around her, a commitment to make a difference by helping those in need and being a safekeeper of the American dream. Being in the National Guard takes drive, the kind that doesn't fade when impossible obstacles stare at you in the face, the drive that is deemed impossible and paves a way in history as the first female of many accomplishments, empowering young women that they can do the same. Being in the National Guard requires mitigation, teamwork, and the will to achieve something bigger. All tasks that she has accomplished as seen by her success rate and garnering commendation by her superiors as well as individuals under her command. Her track record speaks for itself when evaluated if she really is the right person for the job. She leads with gratitude and humility, never succumbing to what she wants to hear over what is best for the whole. Every virtue and core belief that the Guam National Guard stands for, Colonel Aguigui exemplifies to the highest regard. She leads by example, and anyone would be hard-pressed to find a more qualified and better leader than her to take our island's military forces to new heights. I do believe leading is as much being open to opinion of others as it is taking your own advice. Leading is not being at the back and directing, but being in the front, leading by example, doing everything that you'd ask individuals under your authority to do. Leading is being responsible for actions and decisions you make, fully aware of the possibility of repercussions. Leading is not taking credit for accomplishments, but rather recognizing the team of individuals who make the mission or task a success. Leading is doing the right thing when heads are turned and the lights aren't shining. Leading was what Colonel Esther C. Aguigui does, and that's what she has done her whole life, regardless of rank or aspect of life. The future of Guam is only as bright as the individuals who lead the way in helping shape that future for the generations to come. And to say the people in this room are the best home has to offer would be an understatement. Thank you for all your time and consideration. I have full faith that the present and future of Guam could not be in better hands. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Go ahead.
That was beautiful, Ethan. Let's give it up for him again. That was so awesome. That's a great description of Antias. Hafaday Senator Terlaje, Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes, and the 35th Guam Legislature. Sidusmasi for the opportunity to submit testimony in support of Colonel Esther Aguigui as the Adjutant General of the Guam National Guard and Director of the Department of Military Affairs. My name is Joshua Greg Aguigui Tikenko. Just like my first cousin and little brother, Ethan Aguigui, I have known Colonel Esther Aguigui my entire life. She is my mom's only sister and one of my favorite human beings on the planet. To my sister and first cousins, who I consider also my siblings, she is simply known as Auntie S, or as we joke around, my Auntie S. Colonel Aguigui is the daughter of Joaquin and Teresita Aguigui from the village of Malesso. She is the second youngest of 6 children. My grandparents instilled in their children the values of respect, fairness, kindness, hard work, and being humble. They most especially taught them to be strong in their faith and keep God and family at the center of everything. Colonel Aguigui, or Auntie S, is one of the most hardworking, kind, selfless, inspirational, and humble people that I know. She has been my role model and our family's hero. She never really tells us about her latest accomplishments, probably because she keeps her focus on getting the job done and helping people. Her awards and milestones in her career are a testament to her work ethic and her ability to persevere. She has been dedicated to serving the people of Guam and our country her entire life. Auntie S strives to improve and make life better because my grandparents worked so hard to give her and the rest of our family the opportunities to succeed. Education was a big part of that formula, which is why I'm not surprised Auntie S and my mom became public school teachers. When she chose to serve our country, there was no greater way to honor my grandpa's legacy. Growing up, there was a lot of pressure, like Ethan was saying, to get good grades and excel in school from our parents, aunts, uncles, and grandparents. But Auntie S was always encouraging my sister, first cousins, and I along the way. Her presence meant everything to us. She makes our lives fun and rewarding. I can't think of a better person to lead the Guam National Guard in this new era. All that she has gone through and experienced has prepared her for this very moment. Auntie S is a natural leader because her demeanor inspires people. She inspired me to run marathons. She inspired my sister Faith to join the Air Force because she wanted to be just like her. Just by hearing all the testimonies in support of her today, it's clear how she's inspired so many others to fulfill their potential. Every time I have a big decision or need advice, she is always there to guide and support me despite her busy schedule. She empowers our family to be the very best it can be. Please allow her the opportunity to continue serving our island community as the new tag. Sizuz Maasi again for the opportunity to testify in support of Colonel Esther Aguigui.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Carl. It's your turn. Here it is.
Hafaday, Chairman Terlaje. Malaga zabe singanyo lo ungan Dr. Malesso lo Aguigui mau gizotnya. Pues besinganyo na Dr. Zotnya zu. So lo quit Dr. Malesso lo senor Jotnya rules.
Más un de English, un convencido para por ma-confirm. Ano lang mo tayo na está segura na ma-confirmao?
Saina?
Si Dismasi?
Saina Gusia. Tibe stop bahaw. Hafaday, Chairman Terlaje, and members of the Committee on Public Safety, Border Safety, Military and Veterans Affairs, Mayor's Council, Infrastructure, and Public Transit. Thank you for taking the time to be here. I am grateful for Magahaga Lou Leon Guerrero and Segundo Magalahi Josh Tenorio's nomination and the strong support I have received throughout this process from both the executive and legislative branches to expedite this proceeding. I appear before you today seeking your favorable support for confirmation to serve as our island's Director of Military Affairs and the 12th Adjutant General of the Guam National Guard. I am humbled by everyone in attendance, especially our veterans, members of the Department of Military Affairs, Veterans Affairs, and the Guam National Guard, the Mayor's Council, civil authorities, and, if they're here, the local media. I also want to thank my mom, my spouse and daughter, my family, and friends for being here. I want to recognize all of our families for the support, love, and sacrifice they give, allowing us the opportunity to serve. And with humble gratitude, I thank the Adjutants General, who I personally knew, Major General Benny M. Polino, Major General Donald J. Goldhorn, and Major General Roderick R. Leon Guerrero for making the Guam National Guard the world-class organization it is today. I am a Christian, spouse, and mother in that order. I was born, bred, and raised in the charming and tranquil village of Malesso. Many know me as the daughter of Teresita and the late Joaquin Aguigui. Some may know me as the sister to Earl and Michelle, Pearl and Greg, Jesse and Pam, Ken and Lisa, and Ike and Fonzie. Others may know me as Auntie S. Aguigui, or the ma'am. My wife calls me her one forever, and my daughter calls me Mom. She was supposed to be here today, but she chose to spend time with a puppy instead of me. So I have to have a little talk with her when we're doing homework tonight. So the Department of Military Affairs is a unique department in that its primary customer is the Guam National Guard, Army, and Air. Created by Public Law 16-18, the Department of Military Affairs is tasked to manage all elements of the Guam National Guard. The DMA ensures the Guam National Guard is adequately supported to meet its federal, state, and community missions, as well as ensuring training facilities and equipment are readily available and fully operational for its 1,600 soldiers and airmen. thus improving state and federal capabilities. An agreement between the government of Guam and the National Guard Bureau establishes the procedure on how the Guam National Guard is to be supported. We must commit to the full administration of the Master Cooperative Agreement process, which arranges that the government of Guam pay for services in advance and receives reimbursement for 75% or 100% of the total cost, depending on the affiliated program. Nonetheless, all 49 DMA civilian employees are postured to remain ready, relevant, and good stewards of federal resources. The day Governor Liu appointed me as the acting director of military affairs and the adjutant general, I notified the key staff that we would continue to press forward and stay focused on our missions. Since that time, we have been really busy. In January, we mobilized 71 soldiers in support of the United States Army's Terminal High Altitude Air Defense Mission, also known as the THAAD, and their main purpose is to secure and protect critical assets charged with the protection of 162,000 civilians, strategic Navy and Air Force assets, and the regional homeland defense from ballistic missile threats. Planning and preparations have commenced to assemble a second team for mobilization in September of this year. Additionally, we are executing our final preparation for next month's mobilization of over 200 soldiers in support of a multinational forces observation mission between Egypt and Israel. Closer to home, our vibrant and steadfast state partnership program allows us to work together with the Armed Forces of the Philippines to provide training in such areas as combat life-saving, leadership, and engineering. Recently, Reserve Officer Training Corps cadets from the Philippines came to Guam to train with our very own University of Guam ROTC students and further strengthen the bonds of friendship. Over 50 airmen are currently deployed all over the world, to include Afghanistan and other countries in Southwest Asia. As they begin to return from their deployments over the next several months, an additional 20 will be preparing for other deployments and taskings to include the National Guard's ongoing Southwest Border Patrol operations in the US mainland. The Guam National Guard is a vital and growing part of our island's and nation's defense. Changes to management is part of that growth that will offer more diverse opportunities for our people. In response to the Governor's 2018 Transition Advisory Committee report, the Guam Army National Guard has revised personnel actions processes to attract a wider pool of applicants, to address gaps in retirement eligibility, and to increase the female ratio in key leadership positions, promoting equal employment opportunities. The Guam Air National Guard is in the final approval process to add a space control squadron to its missions. An additional 34 new positions were added to our Red Horse Squadron, and next year, we will receive 7 additional positions, increasing our medical capability. These opportunities allow our best and brightest citizens to serve in the military part-time while keeping their civilian jobs. This represents a huge and exciting step forward into the future of our island. Here at home, we are caring for our retirees, veterans, and families, responding to the needs of our citizens by providing defense support to civil authorities during times of natural disasters. We are committed to supporting the island's detection, interdiction, disruption, and curtailment of drug trafficking activities. We have a great partnership with the Judiciary of Guam to provide sporting events and community service projects for our troubled youth. We are closing the final coordination stages to transfer 42.6 acres of U.S. Navy property for our use. We are exercising our Army Aviation Unit's unique search and rescue capabilities. We have mastered the process to receive our returning soldiers and airmen back to Guam and the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas Islands, and sending others to support contingency operations all over the world. We have not slowed, we have not faltered, and we will continue to embrace change and progress. The Guard fights America's wars by performing worldwide combat and combat support operations, providing global reach and the projection of U.S. military power in support of national objectives. Soldiers and airmen are the backbone of our fighting force, and recruiting and retaining the best service members is essential to victory. We are fortunate for the support of the governor, Iminat 35 na legislaturan Guahan, and the Mayor's Council for the growth of the Guam National Guard. We have met and sometimes exceeded our authorized strength and compete with other states for emerging missions, all while providing technical skills, experience, and leadership through military service and obligation. Our units are better trained, equipped, and more experienced than ever seen in our history. Collectively, we will focus on resourcing units to achieve personnel equipment, readiness, training, and deployability when needed. Overall, the Guam National Guard will continue to seek out opportunities to train, support, and fight on behalf of our nation. And as we build local, regional, and global partnerships, we become a smarter, stronger force, adding value to public safety, economic partnerships, and other areas of mutual interest. At the discretion of the governor, we protect the homeland by providing trained personnel to support civil authorities in times of natural disaster or civic unrest. Units such as our 94th Civil Support Team, Weapons of Mass Destruction, has proven repeatedly of our ability to respond during natural disasters and major events. We care about our environment and provide resources and support appropriate to assist local communities, such as our quarterly missions to beautify and maintain our parks and highways. We are refitting our antiquated energy systems with cleaner and greener approaches. We will continue to focus our sights on the small capabilities-based opportunities to explore how we can integrate this into our military support to civilian authorities' all hazards plan. If confirmed as the next Adjutant General, I am not anticipating any overarching changes. I have one objective, that we work together to remain efficient and effective in achieving success in our two primary missions. That is, providing operational forces capable of supporting the combatant commander and the ability to respond to a domestic crisis, and ensuring the Guam National Guard is equipped, trained, and led to win our nation's wars, build global partnerships, and safeguard our homeland. I want to thank this committee for the opportunity to appear before you today and the incredible support you provide to our military community, our veterans, and their families. I appreciate your consideration and support in the confirmation process. I now look forward to any questions the committee may have.
Thank you very much, General. Okay, at this point in time, I want to allow the senators to ask questions, and we'll start with not my right, my immediate left, with Senator Marr, Tighten up and work down this way. Huh?
Buenas and Hafaday. In going through your, well, first of all, thank you to everybody for being here. This is really quite a full house. So we appreciate all of your time and what it takes to come out here and provide this kind of support. And so in going through the resume or CV that was submitted by the Lieutenant Colonel, it's 11 pages long, and I'm sure it's actually not all of her accomplishments. And in going through it, much of has been mentioned by the variety of people tonight, but there were just certain elements that really stood out to me. Some of them, like I said, there are so many parts to her experience that I think are really worth highlighting, but just to point out a couple, being the State Senior Intelligence Oversight Officer, being the U.S. Army Pacific Sisters in Arms program head, and that one had as part of its goals to empower women, among other things. So very important roles, absolutely. Also, we had a chance to talk, and she had mentioned that in her role, both as she's been carrying it out, but as she sees herself going forward, that protecting our environment is an important part of what the National Guard stands for. It is all of our home, after all, so that's very important to hear. And it's also good to hear, and we look forward to more of the volunteer programs, the many ways that the National Guard gives to our community. Adopting parks, the Barrigada softball field was mentioned, readying at least one of our schools every year so that it's ready to go for the school children, and conducting various cleanups. So altogether, it's just such an admirable package to be hearing about from the variety of people who are here, be they family, fellow soldiers, or others who have known the Lieutenant Colonel over the years. So I just wanted to be able to highlight that there are so many aspects of her to highlight. And I'm very grateful that she's been able to serve our community and our island in the many ways that she has. So thank you so much for serving in your acting capacity and for accepting the nomination. You do have my support.
Thank you, Dr. Marsh.
Thank you, Senator Mars. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Senator Paris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hafaday, Lieutenant Colonel Aguigui, it was a pleasure to have spoken with you before this meeting, before this nomination hearing. And I'm just really appreciative of your testimony. It really brought some transparency to the role and the plans that you have in serving as Director of Military Affairs and Adjutant General. What I see in you is somebody who's rooted in our island, but yet is able to adapt to change. And I also see someone who's very caring, and that's something that we really need in our leadership role. I also appreciate the fact that you want to be a steward of our environment, and I really look forward to working with you closely in that matter. I just want to thank you for all the hard work and the dedication that you've shown throughout the years, and being a role model for all of us in our community. Sduas Masi.
Thank you, Senator Paris.
Thank you, Senator Paris. Go ahead, Senator San Agustin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Esther, Colonel Esther, You know, when I looked at your initials, E.J.C. Aggie, first thing I thought about was that, I know your brother Earl, and I know your brother Jesse. So the first thing I thought about was Earl, Jesse, Colonel Aguigui. That's all I could think of. Jesse's in the background. We were in the police academy together, and I used to work for your brother Earl, even when he was the chief. But Esther, we met before. We met when I was in the Guard. And I've always told you, stay strong, stay focused, and you'll succeed. And we've met when they were considering you for the appointment. And I said, stay focused, stay strong. And I told you, I got your back. I retired from the Guard, and I'm actually looking forward to the Guard growing. I'm hoping to grow twice as large as it is today. That's what I'm really hoping for. I'm hoping we're going to get a whole flight line of planes here for the Air Guard, and then just everything that we can get on Guam. Because all the outer islands actually depend on Guam for just about everything. And when there is a problem like that, they happen in Saipan, it would have been great if Guam would have been able to deploy air mobile, just get a plane over there, get the choppers, just do everything. And when we have problems down in Marisu, you can go down there with the red horse. And is the mayor still here? He's probably gone. And you can clear the bridges so there wouldn't be a problem. And I'm not worried about Barrigada because the mayor's going to work with you because you're right across the street from her park that she's waiting to hope you'll help fix up for her. But Colonel Aggie, I do look forward to voting yes on your confirmation. I told you I got your back, and you'll do great. I honestly believe the Guam National, not Army, but Army and Air, are in good hands with you in control. And you know the rule, right? You either lead, follow, or get out of the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator San Augustine.
Thank you very much, Joe. Senator San Augustine, rather. Go ahead, Senator Lee.
Mrs. Masi, Mr. Chair, and thank you very much, Colonel Aguigui, for joining us, and thank you all for participating in this process. It's really important for us to hear from our stakeholders, from members of the community, and those that know you personally for so many years. Many of the words that have been used to describe you over the past hour or so has been that you're honest, that you're a woman of integrity, that you're a woman of ethics, that you were raised well by incredible parents and an incredible family, that you inspire people to push beyond anything that they ever thought imaginable, that you are a person who is grateful, that you are flexible, that you lead from the front, that you care for your soldiers and their families, that you have used disciplinary action to keep folks on track, which I can appreciate, that you work harder and you work smarter. And so I certainly know that in my interactions with you, that's what I've come across. And Colonel Aguigui, I also know what it's like to be criticized and attacked anonymously by people. And so I just wanted to give you an opportunity and ask you, what would you say to members of the public and members of the media who might be concerned that you won't be fair in your role going forward?
I appreciate that question, Senator Lee. If you remember, I started my remarks by saying I am a Christian, a spouse, and a mother. In that order, I turn to prayer, and what keeps me centered? I pray for my enemies.
Thank you very much. I know how strong you are, so I certainly wanted to give you the opportunity. And I thank you very much for that response. To Masi. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator Lee. We're going to start from the far right.
I had this amazing speech to be last, and we've known each other since 19 Forgotten. Before you went through so much, and actually when I heard of your nomination, you received an email from me that very next day. I was so proud of you, so proud of what you've become. And through all these years that I've known you, Josh, first I was rushing down here. I already said my, congratulations and already called you General, and I had to go to a meeting, but the meeting was finished quicker than I thought, so I'm coming down here and I'm listening to the testimony. I was listening to your testimony, Josh, and you said everything. You hit it on the nail about your aunt, and she's everything that you said. Honest, smart. Something we women here on Guam could be very proud of, to have our Chamorro woman to be Esther Aguigui, and she's representing us here today. Women unite. I know that Jane Flores is back there, is grinning ear to ear. Yeah, that's right, more women. I feel safe knowing that you're at the helm. Very safe. I've known you for years, and never once have you ever shown anything but honesty, integrity, and decorum. Wherever we were at, even in the nightclub, you showed decorum there. I was like, Esther, let loose, and you just would smile and make everybody, you were the one making sure everybody was going home safe. Yeah, did you hear that, Mom? She was. She took the keys from people, so she was there doing that. And even from that young age until where you are today, I know that the soldiers that you are overseeing, well, I'm telling the soldiers you're overseeing that you guys have the best person to be there to lead you and to guide you. No matter what time it is, day or night, she will be there for you. And thank you. God bless you, and thank you so much for stepping up. You have my full support.
Thank you, ma'am.
Just making sure. Thank you very much, Senator Taylor. Next is Senator Clint, my favorite too.
Thank you, Chairman. It's been a long day, so we understand. No questions, just comments. I'm glad to see yet another nominee from the village of Malesso. So we had one earlier today. My wife is from the village of Malesso, and it's good to see a lot of people from the village of Malesso were able to make it up here today, especially with the cost of gas just went up 10 cents. But still, a lot of people were able to make it up here today. So I just want to congratulate you for your nomination. I know your family, and I know you come from a good family. Good friends with Josh Tekenko, who spoke earlier. We worked together for many years, and I know Josh is a good guy who comes from a good family and a good background, and I believe you do as well. So with that, I'd just like to congratulate you and let you know you have my support. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator Rigel. Next, Senator Terlaje. Ay, te despido, Therese.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you all for testifying, especially those in the Guard who have testified despite the controversy that has risen. So I want to thank you for that. It's very important. And I know it's not always that easy. But I also, of course, want to thank the family members for being here. I was thinking at one moment, it feels like we're in church at Mauricio, because that's where I see most of these people. It's down there in the church. But very glad to see. And you deserve all the accolades that you have received, because it's quite an accomplishment. I mean, your record speaks for itself. Even without knowing you, your record is just very impressive. And that you have achieved this in the time that you have, I think it is inspirational. So I'm glad to hear the stories of the people who you have inspired, women, men, your nephews. It's great. That's what we want from our leaders, and that's what we want here on Guam. I guess I have one question. It's just, so with the controversy, I am very proud that you gave credit to all of those who came before you for the excellence in the Guard, and that we've really built, you all have really built that up to be excellent and world recognized, like you said. So do you think that the controversy or the questions that have, arisen, I know that you've answered these in the media and you've answered them tonight, but do you think it will cause any problems in you getting the confidence of those who you have to work with and going forward?
I would be lying if I said no, and we can move forward, and it's going to be honky-dory, and it's going to be a perfect world. But despite all that, I see this as an opportunity to improve, an opportunity to mend friendships, an opportunity to be better. Because I really believe we're not here for ourselves, we're actually here for others. And God puts us in places where He needs us to be, and I'm exactly where God needs me to be.
Well, that's good to hear, and I wish you the best in that, and I very sincerely do. I wish it's the best for all of us for going forward, and I'm proud that you've accomplished all these things yourself, but also that you come from a long line of women who have accomplished many firsts. And Mr. Pusan, is it? Yeah. Your testimony, I appreciate you coming here to say all those things, and because I know you didn't have to, and you're about to retire, but I appreciate those who have had to work with Esther saying, how she is to work with, and that all of the values that they've pointed out, Esther, that's great. It's really, I guess I too want to say that let's move forward. I wish you the best you're going to do, as you've always done. It seems pretty clear to all of us that you're going to succeed and you're going to excel. So, si Zeus Masi for taking this on.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you very much, Senator Terlaje. Go ahead, my favorite speaker, Tina Munya Barnes.
Si Zeus Masi, Mr. Chair, for literally giving us the opportunity to share our comments with the appointee. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to share with you that I knew Esther as the educator. I knew Esther as the athlete. I knew Esther as the teacher who took care of the students who had problems and didn't know how to talk to their parents. I knew Esther as the team player. I knew Esther as the team leader to help the team come from far behind and be victorious because of the belief that the game is never over until either the last out or the last second and that buzzer goes off. I want to share with you, when I was the oversight chair or vice chair of Veterans Affairs and having issues with some of the families that came home from deployment, when we had the 600 plus military personnel come home from deployment, there were some major concerns about how our sons and daughters that came home were too proud to admit that there may have been some issues in the home front, coming home with PTSD, coming home with some financial instability because, you know, there was no permanency in job opportunities. And I remember that I was speaking to a lot of folks trying to get some answers, and literally I was speaking and it was on deaf ears. And I took the time to speak to Esther, and she had shared one of the hard issues that a mother was facing regarding suicide. And the mother had came to me and asked me for help. And when nobody else was listening, and I want to thank Pastor Kelly for being here because he was very instrumental in making some of those things happen. But it was Colonel Aguigui, ladies and gentlemen, who listened. You talk about leadership, and you talk about all the accolades that your nephew shared to you. And you talk about the family, you talk about your mom and your older sister. I want to say that because of you, that military personnel and their family continues to strive and be better community military families here on Guam. Because of you, you were able to bring the leadership of the military guard family to our office to talk about those concerns, because our soldiers and our airmen did not want to admit that there were issues happening. We talked about the possibility of bringing and letting us as policymakers understand what the process is, what the hotline number is, and that if any person was in fear of losing their job because they had to tell the truth, that you would be able to walk them through that path, to seek the right thing, to get that help. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a lady who followed through. And if you can hear it from my heart, I remember one day when we were at a game, we talked about who would think that what would be a dream to serve and lead your military family would one day become a reality. Would it be in this lifetime or our next lifetime? And I told you, if you really believe in your dream and you believe that anything and everything is possible with God, that dream would become a reality. I stand here tonight to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that I believe that it is happening today because this lady is very prayerful. And she believed in our military family. She believed in those soldiers and those airmen. And when the leaders were not listening, she showed me the way. And because of that, you have a dozen families better and still in the military because of the work that you've done. And Pastor, I won't forget when that happened. You were there to help in prayer and bring those families together. To Chief Master Sergeant Kanata, thank you for believing and not giving up and knowing that yes, if we bring the presentation out, people will hear and then we will get the right information to them. I want you and your family to know that you have my 100% support, and that leadership that you've shared, being the first women empowerment with respect with the men that are around us, because they're the love and main support for us also, that we can make Guam the better place, and it is the best. It is that Guam paradise compared to the rest of the world, and you made that possible and being a part of it. You got my 100% support. Si Diyos Masi. Yeah.
Diyos Masi.
Si Diyos Masi. Si Diyos ang binigisi. Hamzu todos. Saina Masi. Todo do Hamzu Aguigui Gwini. Ugwaisa Hamzu.
Thank you very much, Senator Tina Munya-Barnes. I just have a couple of, just two at least, to, it touches me when Senator Lee asked you about the controversies when they first announced that you're being nominated to be the Adjutant General, and then you answered, you pray for your enemies. Well, let me just say that I pray that you continue to stay in Zona.
Your prayers
anyway,
are answered.
just to get the adrenaline up, because we've been here like 4 or 5 hours already. Another thing that I wanted to ask, and this is in regards to probably national security. And I know that I used to be the first sergeant of the military police company at the National Guard. And I have my friend to accompany me to the National Guard. We were gonna put fuel in my car, and before all they do is when you show your ID card, right, your military ID card, and the one with you that don't have a military ID card is given a temporary pass, right? It doesn't happen anymore. And I know that national security has something to do with that. Are you going to leave that, General, ma'am? So that I can, this guy, and I can see if he's a handicap or maybe he's got something wrong with, he's got disabilities, right? But the thing is, I had to turn around. And he was asking me, is that, Senator, I thought you're the first sergeant for the military police. I said, not anymore, but the thing is, this before, they allow guests to come in, they're civilian without a military ID card.
Interest. We have directives from the Department of Defense to suspend the escort policy.
I figured that, General. I figured that. Because, for national security, you get your marching orders from higher command and the President of the United States, so fully understood. Manilo mananayo manatugod ang tuloy sa ni Manggaygi wini na ponyi. Undang kulustin na minagov. Sa 32 kandidato ni pumakonfirma Toto Malesso. Gentinga na zona loki Aguigui southern area, no? So I want to thank each and every one of you because this has been an exciting day for all of us. And when I do my public hearing, I always come out with a joke. I always come out with people making people laugh because that's the way we can do away with some of the frustration that we have just sitting on our behind and just waiting on. Sometimes we don't even want to listen to some of the testimonies, but that's how you do it. And I'm used to this. So I just want to thank you very much. I want to thank the people of Marizo. The Sinong Dia Besaga Malesso. Well, thank you very much. Again, I was just telling Senator Lee that we're going to be here up to 10 o'clock. Thank you very much. And General, I mentioned in my office that I'm gonna make sure that you're confirmed. 15 of them. Thank you. It's the policy that before we adjourn, I have to read something here again. Puras tembi, kukambi tanaw no pagima bastalo. This is just where's that at? Formality. Where's that at? No, that's the opening.
The closing script right there.
No, but this is for Stephen. Unrata Manilo. Where's that at? Oh, here it is. Thank you, colleagues, for joining me at this confirmation hearing. I also like to thank all of you who testified on behalf of Esther. It says Colonel, I said General, What an honor it is to witness this historic event, and I say it's the historic event. Not only that you're the first woman, but, with your credential, I think it's just about beyond imagination, more than what I have. And I have great faith in your leadership and abilities, and I look forward to working closely with you. You are a proud daughter of Guam and a proud daughter of Marizo, and the first female to serve as Adjutant General. Congratulations. The Committee on Public Safety, Border Safety, Military and Veterans Affairs, Mayor's Council of Guam, Infrastructure and Public Transit has duly heard the executive appointment of Colonel Aguigui to serve as the Adjutant General and Director of the Department of Military Affairs. And if any of you have any written testimony, you can email it to Senator Pedo at senatorjp.terlaje.com. Remember the JP, the P is Pedo, J, Jose. And I want to thank you, all of you very much. And the time now is 7:43.
Yes. No, we still have one more.
And at this point in time, this confirmation hearing is adjourned. Thank you very much.